In many places around the world, when someone gets their first smartphone, it's often a Samsung. Samsung has become very popular because they make good quality products that are also affordable and innovative. But who made Samsung successful? How did they do it? Lee Byung-chul was born in 1910 in South Korea, during a time when Korea was being taken over by Japan. His family belonged to a wealthy class called Yanggvang, sort of like nobility. Even though they were privileged, they had to follow Japanese rules because Japan was controlling Korea. Lee Byung-chul went to school in Seoul and then went to Tokyo for university, but he didn't finish his studies. After he came back from Japan, he probably spent time taking care of his family's properties. Later on, he started his own business, a company that traded groceries, which he named Samsung Trading Company. The word Samsung means 3 stars in Korean. It comes from a story in Korean culture about a dragon fighting against evil. With his company, Lee Byung-chul traded goods like noodles, mainly to China, especially when World War II began and people needed essential things like food and care products. His business did well, so he moved its headquarters to Seoul in 1947. But during the Korean War, he had to leave Seoul because the North Korean army took control of most of South Korea. He moved to Busan and focused on his other businesses there, like a sugar refinery and a textile company. These businesses were all part of the Samsung brand, which expanded into different products. During this time, Lee Byung-chul had a partner named Cho Hong-jae, who helped Samsung grow into different industries, but they had disagreements about how to run the company, so they split up. Samsung Group divided into different companies like Hyosung Group and Samsung Group. Samsung became successful partly because the Korean government helped big companies like Samsung by protecting them from competition and giving them money easily. They wanted to help Korea grow faster by making big companies stronger. Samsung was one of those big companies called chaebols, run like a family business. Lee Byung-chul, the founder, prepared his third son Lee Kun-hee to take over one day. The company got even bigger in the late 1950s by buying 3 big banks in Korea, along with an insurance company, a cement factory, and a fertilizer company. In the 1960s, Samsung bought more insurance companies, an oil refinery, a nylon maker, and a department store. In 1969, Samsung started making electronics. They created divisions like Samsung Corning, Samsung Semiconductor, and Samsung Electromechanics. They also partnered with Sanyo to make things like TVs and microwaves. The first black and white TVs they made were a hit in Korea in 1970. Samsung kept growing. By 1978, they had made 5 million TVs. They also became one of the world's biggest shipbuilders. They set up Samsung Electronics America and a research center in the late 1970s. Lee Byung-chul became very rich and powerful, even leading a big business group. In 1980, Samsung entered the telecommunications hardware business. They started with switchboards, then phones and fax machines, before making mobile phones in 1988. Lee Byung-chul died in 1987, and his son Lee Kun-hee took over. At first, Samsung struggled in the mobile phone market because Motorola had a big share. Samsung's phones weren't great, and they only had a small part of the market. They thought about giving up on phones because of these problems. But in 1995, Samsung decided to change its strategy. They focused on making better phones with new technology. By the early 2000s, Samsung became one of the biggest tech companies in the world, even surpassing Sony. They became known for their smartphones, starting with the Samsung Galaxy S in 2010.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the new Samsung Galaxy S. With the world's largest Super AMOLED screen, the power to perform at super-fast speeds, and the ability to discover a whole new world with Leia. It's our best Android-powered phone ever. The Samsung Galaxy S.
The new phone got a lot of love from people. They liked it even more than other popular Android phones like the Nexus One and HTC Desire. People and the media praised the Galaxy S for its amazing display, but they also said its GPS wasn't great and it slowed down over time. Samsung has made lots of phones since the Galaxy S, each one better than the last with new features and updates. Some, like the Galaxy Note Edge, did really well. The Galaxy Note Edge had a unique curved screen when it came out in 2014. That curved screen idea has been used in many phones since then, like the Galaxy S8 and S9. Samsung also made some great tablets, especially after the success of the Tab S2. The latest one, the Galaxy Tab Active 3, came out in 2020. Samsung has also made foldable smartphones like the Galaxy Z Fold and Z Fold 2, thanks to their new technology. Now, Li Jiang leads Samsung after his father's death. But recently, Samsung faced a big problem. Many apps on their phones were slower because of Samsung's game-optimizing service. Even well-known apps like Instagram and TikTok were affected. Samsung said sorry for this and promised to listen to customers better. Li Jiang's takeover was complicated by Korean law. He apologized for some plans about who would take over after him and said he wouldn't let his kids run the company. He got in trouble with the law, too. The current time is tough for Samsung, but they're still working hard on new technology. They introduced their AI system, Bixby, with the Galaxy S8, joining others like Apple's Siri. Now, Samsung is focusing more on AI to make people's lives easier. According to Samsung, Samsung is putting a lot of focus on improving the user experience and making the most of AI technology. They plan to invest a significant amount, $22 billion by 2022, with a big chunk going into 5G and AI. They're also hiring 1,000 new scientists to work on AI research around the world. Samsung believes that these investments will help them stay competitive in tough markets like the chip industry and open up new opportunities in telecommunications and robotics. It's clear that Samsung is committed to staying at the forefront of innovation, and their approach of investing in cutting-edge technology and exploring new avenues for growth shows their determination to lead the market. As for other details to add to the video, you could mention specific examples of how Samsung has used AI in their products, or how their investments in technology have impacted their business strategy over the years. Additionally, discussing Samsung's competition in the tech industry and how they differentiate themselves could provide more context for viewers.